York football Giants playing without Daniel Jones. Here's Colt McCoy in. They're down 5-0, that's right. And here's Wayne Gallman, Dan, for 60 yards.
Yeah, they get that big G game, lead blockers out in front, and Gallman down that sideline, a huge chunk in the run game for the Giants.
2 plays later, Alfred Morris. Who? That's right, Alfred Morris. Giants go for 2 and get it. They're leading 8-5. Seattle looking for answers. Going for it on 4th and 1 at midfield. Look at the defensive effort, Dan.
Greeny, this is trusting your defense. Everybody on the defense trusts that guy is going to do his job. Great pressure on Russell, staying back in coverage. Outstanding stop by that defense. And then I love this little roll pass play call. Colt McCoy flash fake, get it out in front, touchdown Giants.
Giants go up 14-5. They would add a field goal, so it's 17-5. 4th quarter, Russell Wilson trying to make something happen, and he'll find Chris Carson, who had, for the most part, Rex, a tough day.
Yeah, he did. He had like 2 drops, and now he's going to end up catching the toughest ball thrown to him for a touchdown. But a great pass by Russell Wilson.
So it's 17-12. Seahawks now need a touchdown to win on a 3rd down. How about Leonard Williams, Rex?
Yeah, I wish the Jets had players like that. He really is playing like the best player in the draft when he came out.
And so here's your final chance for the Seahawks, 4th and 18. Stunningly, the Giants don't go zero blitz. Wilson throws up a prayer.
Yeah, they tried to win the game, Greedy. That's just what it looks like to me.
And they do. And they remain in first place in the NFC East with a stunning 17-12 win. Extraordinarily impressive. This is a team that was 0-5. They were 1-7. And here they come. Ryan Clark, what is the first thing we say about the Giants and their coach, Joe Judge, today?
Man, ain't Joe Judge everything the Detroit Lions thought Matt Patricia was going to be? The thing that the Detroit Lions were waiting and allowing Matt Patricia time to become. Joe Judge has become that in the first season for the New York Giants. The New York Giants are the best team in the NFC East for one reason. They're the only team with an extremely consistent trait. And that consistent trait is the most important trait anyone in the NFC East has. They absolutely compete all out 100% every single snap, every single game. They are physical. They fly to the ball on offense. They understand what they are now, and they do that. I love the way that this team has now found an identity. It's not about necessarily if we will win every game. It's about how we will come out, compete, and play every game, and Joe Judge has that entire team on the same page.
That's right. And, Dan, it starts up front on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they bullied the Seattle Seahawks yesterday. But I think the best way to describe Joe Judge is, anyone can see adversity. It takes a strong person to see an opportunity. Greeny, you mentioned this team was 1-7. How did he not lose this locker room? Not only not lose it, but really galvanize it. And they have decided and started to play bully football on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Now think about it. Football, for all the X's and O's that we love, and I love them more than anybody, is about the line of scrimmage. And you talk about a team that no one's going to want to play here in the last month of this season and probably leading into the playoffs because they're going to win this division. And now you're talking about a football team that as long as the quarterback doesn't give the ball away, you got to get punched in the mouth for 70 snaps. They're going to be physical. They believe in their coach. Their coach has instilled belief in their players, and their locker room thinks we are a good football team. It's not the we're the best team in the bad division thought process. They think we are a good football team, and because of our physicality, we can beat anyone that we're going to play.
Their last 7 games, they're 5-2. Their 2 losses were by a combined 3 points. And Rex, you said it here about 3 weeks ago that Joe Judge had sort of opened your eyes with an approach that he took with this team, and it really seems to be making a difference.
Yeah, and to Ryan's point about he showed effort, and he showed that, hey, look, that became his team. And the guys, they had to be like, that's for the first time, this guy was all about positive. And about how, now we're that team that I had that vision for. And that's how his team's playing. Ever since that moment, this team has taken off. And when I look at it, this defense is legit. And we talk about Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams, when he came out in the draft, I thought was the best player in the draft. All right? Never played that way for the Jets. Well, he's playing like that way now. And so to me, this team... And look, I believe in Daniel Jones. Another thing I was right on when I said he was the best quarterback in New York, he's still the best quarterback in New York. When they get him playing like that, this team just won against the Seattle Seahawks with Colt McCoy at quarterback.
Right.
who can't play dead in a B Western, and yet they won the game. So to me, I love the way this football team is.
Look, RC, we'll see what Washington does today against Pittsburgh in an unusual 5 o'clock on a Monday afternoon game. But right now, the Giants not only look like a team that is going to win that division, but they look like a team that one of the NFC big boys is going to have to go in and play Carson Wentz on this program. And Dan Orlovsky, you said so many of them. What is the first thing to say about this today?
Carson Wentz is broken. The Philadelphia Eagles have broken him. And if you look at the two most important people in their organization when it comes to power, it's their general manager and their head coach. And their general manager, within the same year, gave Carson Wentz the biggest guaranteed contract ever and then drafted a guy in the second round. So there's a seed of doubt planted in Carson Wentz's mind. And then the head coach, Doug Peterson, yesterday decides to go, okay, it's time for Jalen Hurts, which is probably the right decision. And then he leaves him in for the rest of the game. And now you've got another seed of doubt. Does my general manager believe in me? Not as much as I think. Does my head coach believe in me? Not as much as I think. And that has broken Carson Wentz. And I always use this saying, don't give up what you really want for what you want right now. They really want Carson Wentz to be their franchise quarterback, but they want to win games right now. That's why I think they have to start Jalen Hurts next week. I don't think you can walk into your locker room and not play him because your quarterback is completely mentally broken, and the Eagles did it themselves.
RC, Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz next week? Which direction should they go?
It's Jalen Hurts. Doug Peterson has absolutely no choice. Doug Peterson was standing at the top of the cliff, and Carson Wentz has been beating him down that cliff to the edge, and he was about to fall over. He had to make a decision. He had to say something to his team that this type of play, no matter the position, no matter the contract, no matter the name, is unacceptable. And so you put Jalen Hurts in the game, and they said there was no plan. Carson Wentz didn't necessarily know how long he was going to play, but in the third quarter, you get the best pass of the game, and it's from your backup quarterback. He is Jalen Reagor, who we've been looking for all year, and now you have this huge play. And then you go into the fourth quarter, and it's 4th and 18, and I know it's kind of a time where you're trying to figure out how can we just get this game close, and he throws a touchdown. The football had touch on it. He was accurate. He created plays with his legs. He looked like the more poised, experienced, confident quarterback yesterday. And so Doug Peterson, you start him. And if it doesn't work out, then fine. At least you made a change. At least you showed your team that play matters. And if it works out, then you have a decision to make in the future. But it's no decision to make about the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles next week, because that guy has to be Jalen Hurts.
Well, Rex, you're my coach here, and so the coach has to balance losing his locker room versus potentially losing his job. How do you handle this now if you're Doug Peterson?
Well, if he loses his locker room, he's going to lose his job anyway. So to me, look, I have not been a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. I mean, I don't think he has the NFL skill set. But right now, so I don't see him as an NFL quarterback. But right now, the way Carson Wentz is playing, he's not one either. So to me, you got no choice. What I saw as just a fan is as soon as you put Hurts in, the entire team picked up. So that was a spark like, hey, we want this guy. And then when you hear, you see this, attitude by Carson Wentz and all that, I understand. Here's my sources tell me that he's a guy that knows it all in the locker room. Well, guess what? That doesn't fly. That means people want you benched. And that's what I don't think they have a choice. They got to go with Jalen Hurts. And so we'll see.
When you say that, it's reminiscent of the fact that this is a team that seemed to play better around Nick Foles than it did around Carson Wentz, and maybe now it makes a little sense to you.
Yeah, it makes sense to me now when I hear about this is, a know-it-all guy, because at the time I'm like, there's no comparison. Athletically, Carson Wentz is exactly what you want as a quarterback. But it's all these underlining things. If he's not coachable, if he thinks he's above the team and everything else, no wonder everybody was screaming for Nick Foles, who we all know is just a journeyman guy and a backup quarterback. But I understand it much better than I did, at the time.
So, Dan Orlovsky, you say that right now Carson Wentz is broken. Candidly, watching it, it's impossible to disagree. Can he be fixed?
Oh, absolutely. The right people can absolutely fix Carson Wentz. But, Greeny, it's going to come to trust. And I think that's when I hear those post-game press conference comments from Carson Wentz going, I didn't really know the plan. I was told that Jalen Hurts might go in for that first play and then maybe a series. That's the biggest concern I have right now, because the question becomes, how does Carson Wentz ever trust, again, the general manager, Howie Roseman, and the head coach, Doug Peterson? Like, how was there not the conversation of, hey, Carson, right now you're not playing good enough and our offense is struggling. If that continues to be the case in this game, Jalen's going in. And if Jalen provides a spark, or if Jalen plays well, which he did, he's going to continue to stay in. There can't be this gray area right now for this offense. And so it's going to take time. And I said this last week, Greeny, the biggest question in this organization is, do they believe that either Doug Peterson or Carson Wentz is their future? Because if they believe it's Carson Wentz, then they need to find somebody that can rebuild the trust, because right now the trust between the player and the coach is completely broken. And the question becomes, what about 2021? That's the reality. The division's not being won, Eagles fans. What about 2021? Because if you move to Jalen Hurts for the next 4 games, I think 5 games or whatever's left, you bring into question 2021. I don't care about the money. I understand it's very different.